What a long week, guys. Only been a couple of days, but man, it already feels like an entire week has gone by. But I'm happy to be here with you guys. Listen, we got a fragrance that for me is a new fragrance from a new house that I haven't heard of. It's always like Christmas when you can come across something you haven't seen before. So strap up, grab your beverage, grab a snack. Let's go for a ride. All right, you are tapped in with the scent bubble, and I am your host for the late evening. Without further ado, let's jump right into this because there's really no backstory. This is from the house of Noyz, and it is Lost and Found. And what I love about this sample pack that I've collected that we'll be going through is each of them has all of the note breakdowns, a little bit about the company, everything that you want to know as somebody who's trying a fragrance and considering whether or not it is up to standard for being a great fragrance to add to your collection. I know nothing about the company of Noyz. I just actually recently started seeing them, and I'm interested. So we're going to take a whiff. Before I do, though, I'm going to read you this little blurb on Fragrantica. So it says, well, why don't I just tap you guys in with me? Cool. All right. Lost and Found by Noyz is a fragrance for men and women. This is a new fragrance. Lost and Found was launched in 2024. So that's the fragrance. The fragrance is a 2024 release. Not quite sure about the company. The nose behind this fragrance is blah, blah, blah. The top notes are, we don't really need to get into that yet. I'm just curious, though. Let's do Noyz fragrance. And let's go to their actual site. Do they have an about section? Our story. About us. And we're not going to get too deep into this. Modern fragrance brand creating premium scents that are rooted in real, raw, authentic storytelling, okay? Industry standards of perfection, crafting unique, expressive, long-lasting fragrances inspired by real stories and raw feelings. Okay. Sounds like a little bit of fluffy talk. What does that even mean? We believe scent is a new dimension for self-expression. I guess I can rock with that, but it's nothing new to us, right? With the power to explore and amplify who you are, the imperfect, the messy, the real. So they design their fragrances to be vibe creators, to be extensions of your personality. Question is, how do you know if it's your personality? Well, hopefully I can shed some light on that and bring you guys behind the hot seat here with me to smell this fragrance. We're going to give this 2 to 3 sprays. And before we go into a note breakdown, we're going to get an initial thoughts on this fragrance called Lost and Found, which is apparently a unisex fragrance. I got to say, in the air, it smells very fresh. And what I mean by fresh, because I think we got to describe what we mean by fresh. In this fragrance, it is light, airy, and real. It doesn't feel synthetic, though it doesn't smell like anything organic or real to me, but the notes seem to be very well harvested and very well blended. And there's this fresh, light and crisp aromatic, but this isn't a light fragrance in terms of power. This fragrance packs a sweet and powerful punch that has an airiness about it. What am I smelling? It's kind of got that female body mist, like one of the best body mists for women, you know, very fruity, somewhat citric, highly aromatic. Now, woodiness is in, like 80% of the base of all fragrances. I mean, from what I've seen, I don't know if that's an accurate statement, but in our fragrance journey, that's what I've seen is that woods basically kind of ground a fragrance a lot of times. But I would say up top, it's got a very body misty vibe in terms of like just the DNA profile, just basket of fruit, feels somewhat sweet, somewhat tropical, somewhat like citrus, strawberry type of vibe. I don't know if strawberry is the distinct note because there is such a light aromatic about it, but it's along the dimensions of kind of like a fresca, fresh strawberries, and like lemon lime citrusy type of vibe. And there's really not much else going on, but I think as a fresh light fragrance, this is like sits perfectly unisex, maybe a little bit feminine leaning just because it's so fruity. But I think for what you get in it, no, I think it does lean feminine. I'm going to keep it 1,000. This is like a high quality body spray for a female, or like a shower. No, not a shower spray. Body spray is what I'm going for here. It doesn't feel very perfumey or cologne-y, but I don't really have a ton to say other than that it's got this basket of fruit vibe to it. This is what the bottle looks like. Real quickly, we're going to kind of skip around. I want to see what a fragrance like this goes for, being the type of DNA that it is. Let's go to shop real quick and hit Lost and Found and see what it retails for. A 50 ml is going for $85. That seems really steep for a fragrance like this, though it is good. That seems like a bit of a reach for this type of DNA. Top notes of lemon and pink pepper. The pink pepper is non-existent. Raspberry, I can get that. I can get behind that. It definitely is like a raspberry lemon vibe. I feel like it's more strawberry on the nose, but lemon raspberry can kind of have that type of vibe, almost like a strawberry lemonade. This is like a raspberry lemonade. Jasmine for that light floral white freshness. Rhubarb for that sweetness, I believe. You know, it's got a sweet and sour vibe to it, which, you know, raspberry is sweet sour, lemon is sweet sour, so rhubarb plays into that very nicely. White florals to freshen it up, and then just a ramp up on that candied sugar vibe with a little bit of cedar. That is barely a part of the fragrance, probably about 5-10%. And then amber to warm it up. This is a very straightforward fragrance, guys. I don't want to cap. I don't want to find excuses to make a long episode with you guys. But that's what you're getting. Kind of this raspberry lemonade with this hyper intense emphasis on floral light white freshness, and yet this sugary warmness to the raspberry lemonade profile. No pepper to speak of. Cedar, almost none to speak of either. I don't think this is worth $85. I think the price on a fragrance like this is really going to be its downfall. You know, there's so many female body sprays at like Bath and Body Works, Target, Walmart, that women, you know, Ross carries tons of body sprays that women can get this profile from. It is very quality and fresh, but I think in this day and age, if you have a DNA that's very female body misty, it doesn't ever really warrant a price tag above like $30. This is a kind of fragrance where you might find it in like your higher end, pricier stores, you know, like a Neiman Marcus or something. And a female that's just not really up on the fragrance game would catch this and buy it just because she has the money to blow. But if she knew she could go to Ross and pick up 3, 4, 5 of them for the same price and get a little variety, you wouldn't really bat an eye. Men, not only are there so many fragrances that are just richer and more cologne-y, for lack of better words, but for a man, I know easily, if a man decided to wear this, it would be boy toy material, you know, 20 and below. But again, I think for its price point, you're going to find so many fragrances. One that immediately comes to my mind as a better fragrance overall and leans a little bit more masculine is going to be Lattafa. I believe it's Lattafa Rams Gold. You know, that kind of fruit baskety vibe, but it sits on stronger woods than this. But again, it's kind of like a Baccarat Rouge DNA, which is what this is kind of going for. Despite it being raspberry lemonade, I think it is certainly reminiscent of Baccarat Rouge with a little more emphasis on kind of fruity citrus, fresh aromaticness, whereas Baccarat Rouge kind of feels more denser, for lack of better words. and just kind of goes in a slightly different fruit combination direction. But yeah, the price is going to be the downfall for a fragrance like this. At best, to me, this is like a $20, $30 fragrance. It is quality, and I think women would absolutely enjoy wearing this. The male wearing experience on this is going to be extremely lackluster. I wouldn't recommend it at all, especially with the price point. But even just as a DNA, if it was affordable, I think a lot of men would really overlook this. This is a raspberry lemonade fruit basket that's ultra sugary. On the sugar scale, it's like 7 or 8 out of 10. It feels like the longevity would be very weak on this fragrance. You might get 4 hours of decent performance at best. But yeah, as a fragrance, it's such a copycat and so light and so pricey that I have to give a fragrance like this maybe like a 5 out of 10 at best. Don't really have much else to say. Let's see if the notes on the sheet here are different than what is listed. So we have top note Italian, lemon, and Australian pink pepper, not just pink pepper. Mid notes, we have jasmine, petals, rhubarb. Base, we have cedarwood. Wow, it didn't really list the sugar or the amber. And yeah, we don't even have the raspberry listed as the mid here. So it looks like everybody's pretty confused a little bit about the actual DNA profile of this. So I have to go by their own company's advertisements. But yeah, man, that's all I have to say. I think it's pretty underwhelming for our first fragrance from the brand of Noyz, but they do have what looks like about 10 fragrances here. So, you know, hopefully we can get into something better in the future. This is an eau de parfum concentration. Again, we went over age. I think it's an any season, any reason type of fragrance, you know. It will do different things for you in hot and cold climate. I think it's a young boy toy type of fragrance. I even think, though, that most young boys, you know, in their teens or, you know, early 20s would even find this fragrance to be a bit too feminine. But to each his own. Definitely sample this before you buy it, because I think you'll find and have several fragrances that come to mind that outclass this by every measurable standard. Specifically Lattafa Ram's Gold, which goes for like $16.99 at Burlington and Marshall's and TJ Maxx. So this is from the brand of Noyz. It is Lost and Found, and it's a dud in my book, guys. Thank you for rocking with the Scent Bubble. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell so you can see our content every day of every week. And with that being said, y'all stay blessed. Until next time, peace.